Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. So today we unexpectedly got the entirety of the patch notes for the upcoming Scourge League. Wasn't expecting that at all, don't really have time to go through everything. I just wanted to bring a couple of highlights to your attention, and then much later on today, maybe even tomorrow, I will come back with a lot more analysis of the ins and outs of the patch notes. That'll be one of the monstrously long videos, whereas this one's nice and short. So this is one of the new cosmetic sets, not the wings. The wings are from an old supporter pack, but this is the Primordial League supporter pack, which I kind of really like the look of. So with that in mind, let's jump across to some of the items that are getting changed that look like they're really interesting. So in the patch notes, there's a couple of lines that are easy to miss. Breach Unique Balance. A number of the Breach Uniques that are not really being used at all are getting upgraded, and I'm really excited by the Skin of the Lord's unique body armor change. This is now going to grant +2 to the level of socketed gems, previously +1. This is a huge buff on this item, and we're going to come back to this later, but this is really, really, really going to be an interesting one. I think people might actually start using that item again. And then there's the Atsuri changes. So Atsuri is getting a new Chase unique item, but it's not a new item, it's one that you're already familiar with. Pledge of Hands is being removed from the Drop Anywhere pool of unique items, and is being moved to the Uber Atsuri drop pool. However, Uber Atsuri is losing Atsuri's disfavor. That is being downgraded to be a drop from normal Atsuri. I kind of like this combination of changes. So by the time that your character's powerful enough to even consider Uber Atsuri, you've got no need for you have no need whatsoever for Atsuri's disfavor at the moment. But you can certainly beat Atsuri on a character that's using a weapon worse than Atsuri's disfavor. And so Atsuri's disfavor is there as just a big early game target farmable unique that you can use for a little while, and then you can replace it with something better when you get something better. Also, divination cards related to it are being changed. So just in terms of those items, a quick recap. Pledge of Hands is the mana stacking staff. It used to be better than it is now, but it's still very, very good. And, provides a lot of spell damage, a lot of maximum mana, more than you'll get on anything else in your hands. And also socketed gems are supported by level 30 Greater Spell Echo, which is something you can't get anywhere else, and that is tremendously powerful. Atsuri's Disfavor here, you can see it's just a pretty solid melee weapon, nothing amazing at all, and just hasn't stood the test of time. Items have gotten better. Crafting methods have gotten so much more powerful that where Atsuri's Disfavor was an uber endgame item when it was introduced, it just isn't anymore. But now let's talk Skin of the Lords. So Skin of the Lords is easy to confuse with Skin of the Loyal. So Skin of the Loyal looks pretty similar at first glance. They are the same item, it's just that Skin of the Lords is the upgraded version. So Skin of the Loyal has +1 to socketed gems, sockets can't be modified, it's always 6 linked, has no item level requirement and no energy shield, and 100% increased global defenses, +1 to the level of all socketed gems, and as I say, always 6 linked, and you cannot change its socket colors. Then if you apply a Blessing of Chayula to this item, it transforms into Skin of the Lords. It picks up a new drawback. That new drawback is you can only socket corrupted gems in this item. This is surprisingly annoying early in the league, but it ends up, it's easily manageable late league, but it does mean that you're not going to have any use for leveling up skill gem. You're not going to be able to effectively level any gems in it. You're going to want to use gems that are already maximum level. However, it also picks up a random keystone. So for instance, you might roll Blood Magic on it, which is generally a bad thing. If you get Blood Magic, then equipping Skin of the Lords applies the Blood Magic keystone to your character. You don't need to be anywhere near it on the passive tree, you just get it. And some of these keystones have drawbacks that are unmanageable. So for instance, for most builds, Avatar of Fire is a terrible thing to have on a piece of body armor. There are certainly builds that can use it, and if you're playing one of them, then a Skin of the Lords with Avatar of Fire is a good thing, but if you're not, then it's terrible to have. However, a lot of them are mostly beneficial or have no real drawback to other builds, and that's where Skin of the Lords really shines. Now, you cannot modify sockets on a Skin of the Lords by any means. So that's important to keep in mind. You can't chrome it, you can't change its socket colors using the crafting bench. But when it gets +2 to the level of socketed gems, you're in a really powerful place to socket a level 4 Empower in this item. So that requires that your Skin of the Lords rolls with at least one red socket, and potentially more than that, depending upon what you're using it with. One interesting thing about Skin of the Loyal, when it drops from Chaeola or from Chaeola Breachstones or Chaeola Monsters, it has a moderate bias towards getting 2 red, 2 blue, and 2 green exactly. You can certainly get things that are different and far from that even, but it tends to be more likely to drop with 222. And so that means that if you are playing a skill that likes the idea of using Empower as one support gem, but using 2 red, 2 green, 2 blue sockets, you can probably find yourself a Skin of the Loyal or Skin of the Lords pretty easily. And you might be able to find the right Skin of the Lords. So that's something to keep in mind. When it's got +2 to the level of socketed gems, that means that you're starting, assuming you've got a level 21, 21 of your active skill gem and a level 4 in power, which is not easy to acquire, but let's assume by the end of the league you can get that. Skin of the Lords is going to already take you up to gem level 28, which is a lot of power. Anyway, that's all I got. Just some quick highlights from this. If you've got comments or questions, fire away below. Otherwise, going to leave it there. May your Varlorbs have interesting results. And remember, you can't use one on a Skin of the Lords because it comes corrupted.